Hi guys, and welcome to the Geek Street, where the street speaks. So today, my name is Sean. Okay, I'm so excited about today's. I forgot to introduce
Today your name is
ourselves.
Sean. Tomorrow, what is your name, Sean?
I'm so excited to about this episode. So, okay, so my name is Sean, and I have my geek buddies over here, Eric, Jess, and Harvin. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
All right. So what an episode of Hawkeye that we have. We are sad that it's the end of a very good run and a very good series, and so we are feeling very sad. But also we are very excited because we see so many things in this episode, so many things to cover, and we have a very we are excited. This is about one person actually. Okay, all right. Especially me and Harvin lah. We are very excited about it. Okay. So I think we don't want to waste too much time in the intro. We want to get into the breakdown. So this is Hawkeye episode 6. So this is Christmas. Okay, so this episode, like what the three of us, me, Eric, and Harvin, last episode, we were asking for more of Kingpin. And guys, what do we have? We finally have Kingpin, right? It starts off with Kingpin making his MC. Like, okay lah. I was very happy that it wasn't just video or just a photo of Kingpin, right? We actually have Kingpin in the MCU, which is really amazing because we know that previously Kingpin was in the Daredevil series and so on. We don't know whether it's canon, not canon. We don't know what's going on over there, but at least now we have Kingpin in the MCU. So, guys, can I just have your reaction on what do you think of Kingpin in the MCU?
Yeah, I think it's a great thing that we finally get to see Kingpin, and of course, like Sean said in the previous video, we did not just get to see Kingpin, but we get to see Kingpin in action later on. That is even more hyped up, like all Daredevil fans, Kingpin, and of course, I think the character they pull off is very similar to how he portrayed back in the Devil series. Of course, the question still plays out whether it is canon or not canon. I personally feel maybe it's not canon. So we don't know, but they just pull the characters from that particular series, right? But I don't know, but I'm really glad they still portray the same character from that series, the same Kingpin, how he characterized. When he like gets angry, he just like stares down at you, right? He doesn't do anything at first. So that kind of reaction stuff. So I got really hyped when they introduced Kingpin.
Yeah, I can tell that Sean and both Sean and Harvin wet their pants after seeing Kingpin. That's for sure. But I think both of y'all said it really. It's very nice to see Kingpin. And I'm happy that we saw him in the beginning. I think I mentioned in our previous video that Kingpin will play a major part in the finale, and I was right lah. So from second one itself, we already had a taste of him, and then it continues to go on, so which is nice lah. It's a good. I think Marvel didn't screw up the finale this time around lah. I would say that.
I guess you guys said everything that I wanted to say, but I'm really excited because throughout this whole series, we are just waiting to see Kingpin, and then when they finally revealed him at the end of episode 5, we are just like. Will they show more of him in episode 6 because they just revealed, and how much more will they reveal? But then to see him in action and to see him showing his strength, it wasn't only action, but because we all know that the Kingpin is abnormally strong in the comics and in the previous series and everything. So to show him doing that, it's really amazing. Also about the ending, at first it felt like they ended it very short for Kingpin, but I guess there is more of him, more like a cliffhanger. But yeah.
So the Kingpin is of course played by Vincent D'Onofrio, who of course played Kingpin in the Daredevil series. But one major difference is they brought back that cane that he uses, right? Because in the previous Daredevil series he did not have that, but then now they sort of make it more. So that's the question we're asking is whether this Kingpin and that Kingpin, whether it's the same Kingpin or whether they are different. So as time goes on, as what Jess said, as time goes on, I think we will find out more and more about where this Kingpin lies within the MCU itself, and whether there's any references to the Daredevil series, right? Okay, so Kingpin makes his debut and he has this conversation with Eleanor where it picked up from the previous episode where Kate saw that picture of them through the phone, but this time she has more than just a picture. She has a video surveillance camera somewhere in Kingpin's office. I don't want to question how it was there, but maybe Eleanor sort of put it there because she works with Bishop Securities and things like that, right? So that's how we have. So Eleanor, now we know that Eleanor is there because of Kingpin and because that Derek Bishop actually owed Kingpin money, which we saw in the very first episode. So that's where the relationship between Eleanor and Kingpin is. Then Eleanor says that she wants out because she draws the line with her daughter, right? So that's basically so we can see that Eleanor also of course plays the mother role, and for her we always question, right, whether her intention with her daughter, whether it's sincere or not sincere. But no, I think as we saw throughout this episode, it is sincere, right? It is that she cares for her daughter more than anything. So that's the conversation that happened in the first few minutes. It was like I was just like what Eric said. I was like, keep it. I was like more. I want him to say more. Do more. But it was really nice. So then what they call the previous episode where what they call Kate and Clint were there. So then Clint was saying that yes, he was the one that he was worried about because Kingpin. And then Kate says that, oh my god, my mother's involved. We go through some emotions, and all that. And then Kate tells Clint that maybe he should really go back for Christmas and be with his family and no need to be in this. But then Clint then says to Clint and Kate sounds the same, okay? So it's like Clint says to Kate that that they are partners and that her mess is his mess now, and they sort of will come up with the situation, right? Then we see this one is really is a bit funny for me because then we see Kingpin in like a Hawaii baju but still has his white coat on, like he was party and business at the same time, right?
But that one, just to be clear, that is a comic book reference. He wasn't in the comic. So they just pull it out right from the comics. So it was damn cool when they did that.
Yeah, given that it's Christmas and it's a holiday season, so yeah, why not just throw that on, right? Then we see Maya come in because Kingpin, of course, was with Kazi at the time. And then Maya comes in and then they have a conversation where Kingpin. This is where Kingpin is very good because we know in the Daredevil series that he makes it seem like he doesn't know certain things, but then he knows because he don't want people to know that he wants to find out whether they're genuine or not genuine and things like that. So when he was doing like sign language, I was thinking he knows how to do sign language, but at the same time he's having Kazi to do the sign language for him. So this is sort of picks up from that particular Kingpin from the Daredevil series as well. These sort of traits that he has, right?
Another thing, I don't know if you guys covered this because I wasn't in the previous episode, but then Maya being Kingpin's daughter and that father, the tracksuit mafia, was just a cover-up because he says Maya turned on this my Maya. So why would he invest so much in just one of his henchmen's daughter? So if I'm not mistaken, that Echo is Kingpin's daughter in the comics, right? So Maya is his daughter, but then because of how dangerous having a close relation with a mob boss, so he puts the henchman as a cover-up, and she grew up to believe that the henchman was her father, which in fact was Kingpin, but he was more at the background watching her. So maybe that is why he has the sign language thing, because he wasn't that involved with Maya's life, so maybe he just knows the basic like I love you and this kind of thing. But then Kazi was the one who was with her throughout her whole life lah. That's why it doesn't stand.
I think we'll get to know more as we see Echo series coming up soon lah. I think now we don't know if they're going towards canon or not, if they are directing that way, but I think once we reach the Echo series, then we'll probably get to know a lot more. But one thing I noticed was the way Maya was giving sign language and looking at Kazi, like whether he's interpreting or saying the right words or not to Kingpin. And I was thinking at that point, like maybe Kazi is trying to save Maya or jeopardize her in some way with the translation. That was what my thought process was lah. I didn't bother thinking about Kingpin or anything else.
Yeah, I have a theory on that. So once we speak about the final things what happened, then we will talk about that, right? Okay. So then we also have what the so as what Jazz said that the Kingpin says to Kazi that Maya has turned on them and things like that. And then he tells Kazi that he needs to remind the city that this city belongs to him, right? Because he's the big boss of that mob, right? The organized crime and all that. And then we see Kate and Clint in a subway where Kate is upset about her mother. This very the subway scene is sort of like because I think it was episode 3. I think when they were after they escaped from the tracksuit and then they were in the subway train, right? So then Clint was more like worried about his family. Now Kate is worried about her mother. So it's sort of like reminiscence. So just a throwback to the previous episodes. Then Clint tells Kate that they need more trick arrows, right? Because previously Clint said that there are no more arrows, but then now we see that Clint actually knows that he does his own arrows, right? We all know that. So then we see sort of like a sequence where we see that they are doing the trick arrows. We see a lot of these arrows that they're doing, and then they have like just a mention about Stark Industries, because we know the Stark Industries used to create weapons and things like that. So previously, maybe when during the early phase 1 phases where maybe what they would have done something for Shield or something like that, and then Clint would have gotten his fair share of Stark weapons, and then we also see Pimp weapons, Pimp arrows and things like that, and then there's one that's labeled very dangerous. So that was really cool. So we see all these trick arrows, which we'll see it later in the episode how these trick arrows works. Then Clint then learns why actually Kate really adores him, right? Because of course Clint doesn't know who Kate Bishop is or was previously, but because of why that when Clint saved her, he didn't know that he actually indirectly saved her. This is the Kate Bishop and things like that, or this is the person that he saved during the 2012 Battle of New York, during the Avengers 1. So then he learns and he grows really fond of her, that she remembers him, because truth to be told, right, who actually remembers a lot about Hawkeye when it comes to speak about the Avengers?
Me.
Right? People always okay lah.
We do with his action where he falls down from the building. That scene is still in my head.
Yeah, no, I mean for people like us, but if you go outside, Avengers means they go like Captain America, they go Iron Man, or they go Hulk, but not many people actually. Hawkeye is sort of sidelined to non or die-hard Marvel fans, right? So
he was so sidelined that and in the first episode when you see Rogers the musical, they actually say Iron Man can fly up in the sky, Captain is the leader, Hawkeye is just a pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
So it's so sad. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So then this sort of brings him to the forefront that, hey, somebody actually realizes what I do, right? So with all that, and then we move on, we see the tracksuit bros pulling up with their moving trucks, and all that, and then we see Kate and Clint attend sort of like a black tie event, where we see the Lappers are also undercover in the event as well, right? But them is quite funny lah, the Lappers later on. And then we see Kazi also setting up his sniper, probably just to kill Eleanor. I think he was there to kill Eleanor, if I'm not mistaken. And then we also see Yelena at this event. She shows up in this green color. By the way, my favorite color is green. So having Florence Pugh wear green is really nice. Okay. Then we also we see Jack has a small argument with Armand the 7th. I think it's the 7th or 9th.
Yeah,
I don't know how many Armands there have
The
been.
7.
Yeah, right. So about him taking his wine collection and all that. So there was a pretty this is a small funny encounter. And then Kate, Clint, and the Lappers, they all try to look out for Eleanor because they want to probably to take her aside and interrogate her to find out what's happening actually and things like that, right? Because I think deep down, maybe Kate knows that the mother may be involved in some way, but then want to find out definitely the full story, what is actually happening, Then
and
Eleanor.
I think the one of the main reasons is to make sure that she's not dead.
Sorry, Jess?
Another reason is to make sure that she's not dead.
Yeah, correct. Okay, and then we what do you call? Then we see Eleanor show up to the event, to this gala dinner or whatever. Then we see Kate confront her mother with a video of Kingpin, try to get some answers from her. Then we can see that Eleanor is somewhat like conflicted, like, because all she wants is the best for her daughter, right? And then she says that she says she will explain to her and things like that. But by the time that she want to explain, then we see Wendy, who's also another comic book character, Wendy Conrad. We see her giving Clint champagne, and he sees like that great laser lighting, and then this is very cool because if you didn't see this, it's damn cool because the moment that Kazi actually shot the gun, Clint actually just took the tray and then blocked it with the tray, and that was really cool, that shows that his reflexes and all that. And then he tells Wendy and the other helpers to get the people out of the building. Then Kate also then joins in. Then this sequence of Kate and Yelena is very, very funny, where Kate and Yelena they leave. When Yelena wants to go in, and she says, "Okay, Nema, you step back, you wait here. I will go and find Clint." Like, she's very nice to Kate, like she don't want to hurt Kate because she knows that Kate is not like the one that she's after. Right, she's only after Clint Barton and not Kate Bishop. And then Kate goes in the elevator, and then they have this sort of like I don't know, like sort of a cool fight scene where like they fight it to stop, that was really nice. And then go one part where just rips off the dress, and then we see that classic Hawkeye purple, right? Like sort of costume, and then she goes and press all the buttons on the elevator
like a small kid.
Yeah,
I really like that scene because they are the next Hawkeye and Black Widow, and it says a lot like how close Natasha and Clint used to be, and this will probably portray like how they will be close after this as the next generations lah. And it really shows like how much Yelena has Natasha in her, which is very nice. I really like this scene. I think that was one of my favorite scenes in the movie, in the series.
And also, let's not forget that Kate just slapped Yelena. Like, what was that for?
Yeah.
She was so calm for a Black Widow. She was just like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna fight you. Do whatever you want. I just want to kill Clint.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. We see Yelena like that small kid, like she's still a young kid, and we see that the chemistry with Kate Bishop, they probably have like the sisterhood going on over there, right? Okay. Then we see what you call. Meanwhile, Clint tries to stop Kazi by shooting an arrow with some purple gas that comes out. Previously, we saw there was one where Kate shot was the like a purple mud like that. Then now it's like this purple gas that comes. I don't know why there's a lot of purple going on here. Maybe it's the Hawkeye color theme reference, but
Team color.
yeah, right. Then Yelena goes after Clint while Kate tries to, of course, stop her. Then Yelena actually takes a shot at Clint as she flies down the building. He takes a shot at him. Then Kate also tries to follow. She's like, "Oh my god, this is supposed to be scary," like, she tries to goes down the building with sort of like the rope and all that, and then she goes down all the way down to, she literally went all the way down lah. Okay, then she's ambushed by the tracksuit mafias. Then we see Jack then try to help her out, and then we see a small glimpse of this swordsman, who was the who's actually Jack Duquesne's character in the comics. I think Harvin, what they say was like sword master or swordsman or something like that.
Sword master.
Yeah, right. Okay, so we see like a small group. So we see. I don't think this is the end of Jack Duquesne, because I think we might see more of him. Maybe a mentor to Kate Bishop or something along those lines. So it's really nice to see that. Okay, like, he's not the bad guy lah. Huh? Okay, so we can establish that Jack Duquesne wasn't the bad guy.
I mean, like you see, I like how Marvel transitioned that character. Like we all, at first we saw like, okay, he was something shady, But towards this episode, they just transition like, okay, it's good, and we still liked it, we're not like hate about it, it's like, okay, cool, that's cool, okay, he's a nice guy, like, we like to see him more in the future projects. So yeah, I like Marvel, like they little that.
They did a good job with the characters. Yeah.
I guess because even throughout the beginning also, they never really show him as a villain. It was always the suspicion part, but he was just nice. Like he just literally offered a butterscotch candy, and we were like, "Oh, he was the one who killed Armand." So Marvel played with our mind, but he was just offering a candy, nothing more than that.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, like I think like what I said, we won't see the last of Jack Duquesne, and we might see more of him. And it's good that we want to see more of these like sort of classic comic book characters, those who doesn't take front and center stages in most of the comics that we have. But those characters to be referenced and probably some small part in whatever capacity that they can. I think that would be really cool from Marvel's end, right? Then the next scene we see Clint come face to face with Kazi, and then they have like this fight that they're like a short one, and then Clint just like because he was putting all these detonators everywhere in the building, so he just like triggers it, and then he sort of runs away, and then he jumps off the building but ends up in a Christmas tree, right? I don't know why they had to do that, but I mean, he was just hanging there, like, then he tells Kate, like, oh, I will get out of this myself,
Funny to see an Avenger stuck in the tree and he cannot come down.
Yeah, that was really, really funny. Then, we see Maya then packing her bag, and then she sees the picture of herself.
Don't forget the owl. The owl plays a important role later.
Yeah, correct. I think at that point, the owl and Clint had because it was like a few minutes before he actually came down, so I think they spent some quality time, and the owl knew that somehow Clint might need his help later on, right? So I think that was it. But she was like, "Oh,
I'll make my appearance later."
Yeah. Right. Then what do you call? Then we see, of course, Kate saves Clint by shooting an acid arrow to the sun and says timber, and then the tree falls down, then he ends up on the ice rink. And then we see the epic showdown of Hawkeye and the Tracksuit Mafias. And Hawkeye, I just don't mean one, but two Hawkeyes against the Tracksuit Mafias. I think this scene, it okay lah. It didn't go to an Avenger level sort of like excitement, but it was exciting lah, right, guys?
Not to mention the suits lah. You forget to mention that Hawkeye rip off his suit. And we see his purple suit.
Yeah, the purple suit. So both of them were in their purple Hawkeye suit, which is very like comic booky, right? So and the way that they fall off the tracksuit, I think they had a lot of good chemistry together. Although they have never they've only been together like in the whole series, it's only been like 1 week, right? Not even like few months, and the chemistry that they have, and it shows the potential of actually Kate Bishop that especially her archery skills are super amazing, if not at Hawkeye's level, but I think it is almost at Hawkeye's level. And then we see a lot of trick arrows in this particular scene.
Even that also, they showed the progress of Kate Bishop, because initially she was good in archery, but we know that she wasn't that good. Sometimes she was still unsure, and she do make mistakes, and she can do simple tricks. But then, I guess with that downfall that she had, and with the confidence that she built back up, and suddenly she's so good, and she's like Sean said, she's almost on par with Clint Barton. In that scene, you can see she's actually Hawkeye worthy compared to the other times she was with a bow and arrow.
But what's interesting is that they still did not make it full-fledged that she knows everything. They did not end like she is super good still. They still she still got a long way to go somewhere. Not like how Clint Barton we got when the series started, when he was already experienced. But now we get to see Kate grows up as to become an Avenger with a more skill set and more circumstances to face in the future.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she's a kid lah. She's a normal person. She's not an Avenger who has, or not an Avenger or an assassin or army guy who has the amount of experience that Clint has. Clint went to Budapest. Does Kate even know what happened in Budapest?
We don't know what happened.
we also don't know what happened.
What happened?
Exactly. So I agree with what Jess said lah. There's a huge build up within her and for her. But definitely gonna compare the Clint lah. Hawkeye is still far up there.
Yeah. So I mean, it shows how, of course, her maturity and how much she has matured. And I think there's more, of course, definitely more. I don't think Marvel would have like showed her full potential there and then, because it's like sort of building up the character from his origin until, maybe a young Avenger later on or something like that, right? So, there is long ways to go for Kate Bishop, right? Then we see a lot of trick arrows in this particular scene. We see there's one with the like spinning needles, and when that went off, I felt the pain, And then we see like one of the arrows where Clint shot actually like freezes a guy's leg, and then there's like the magnet arrows that we saw in previously when they were making the arrows and all that. So many like trick arrows that they used, and yeah, it was just a very epic showdown, right? It was a sort of like a series finale sort of a moment, right? That we had. Then of course, we see a Bro moving truck coming to, flying onto the ice rink, and then Kate then shoots a beam arrow to shrink it, and then we see our friend the owl coming to take it away, after having the conversation with Clint, right? So then he comes and takes the truck away. Then here we see, I think this was really good, and the way Marvel did it, like we see 3 different fight scenes. Okay.
Wait. Before that, we also got a mention of Scott.
Yeah.
Let's not ignore that, because now we kinda see that Scott is leading the beam tax. If not, why you want to talk to Scott if Hank is still around, right? Go to Hank lah. Why are you talking to Scott? But
Unless Scott is secretly sneaking in.
Yeah.
We might see.
Because we know Hank is very, very possessive of his pim tag. He doesn't want it shared because he's afraid to fall in the wrong hands. But then we see Hawkeye having all these pim tags, so most probably Scott is sneaking in all these pim tags to him.
Yeah,
maybe in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania we'll see like a flashback of like Ant-Man running around in Hawkeye, something like that.
Talking about that, there are rumors that Kate Bishop might show up in Ant-Man Quantumania. So we'll see how that plays out.
We will see after we go through this episode, then we'll talk about that, how it will actually turn out, right? Then so the 3 different fight scenes that we see, this is really good how they did it. So the first one we have, this is very important that we need to cover, will be Yelena and Clint. Because before Yelena wants to kill Clint, she says, I just have one question to ask you, right? Then Clint goes on to say that actually she just sacrificed herself, right? It wasn't him that they actually killed her or things like that, or he wasn't the one that's responsible. Of course, he feels responsible for her death, but then he also says that he has to also accept that her sacrifice was meant for like a greater good or something like that, right? Along those lines. But then we see that there is a denial in Yelena, right? That maybe at the time she understood what Clint said, but she just doesn't want to accept it because she's in denial that, my sister I cannot accept that my sister did that, or, why would she do that for you? Who are you? And things like that, sort of like a way. And then what actually turns Yelena is actually when Clint whistles, like how we see in the Black Widow opening scenes, and also at the post-credit scene, when Yelena whistles at Natasha's grave, we hear that same whistle. So that is sort of the one that really turns her and sort of like makes her realize that Clint meant something in Natasha's life for him to know that, right? So that was really, really touching, and it was a very moving moment. I think that it sort of like closes that arc on, okay, Yelena wants to take revenge for Natasha. It sort of like closes that because now she understands what really happened, right? So then next, what will be her move with Val, right? Like what will she do next? Because she was in the pretext that Clint actually was the one that killed Natasha, so she was there for vengeance. But now what will she do next? Plenty of things to theorize about.
Man, right? I teared up for that scene when you were talking about Natasha.
Yeah. I mean, every time Florence Pugh cries, I cry. So
I cried because of Clint's emotional talk, okay? Not for Florence Pugh.
okay. Oh yeah, just if we don't know, yeah, Florence Pugh is a big hit on our Geek Street.
On Sean.
All right. Okay. Then, all right. So the next fight scene that we see is actually Maya and Kazi. They actually fight it out with Kazi saying that he cannot live both lives because I think Maya wants Kazi to turn, like how she did. But then again, Kazi says he cannot do that because he cannot live both lives because he knows maybe if you turn, the only way out is probably death. Because knowing Kingpin, you don't turn on Kingpin, right? So that's what maybe he was thinking, and then he dies, right? Maya has to kill him because he doesn't want. He said that he feels that if he turns his death, so why not he just go out and fight her until she or he dies, right? So then what happened? So that also was sort of like a very emotional moment. So I think we had like two quite an emotional fight among sort of what we can say like siblings. Right,
but I don't think Kazi is dead though. Something tells me that Kazi is not dead.
Because there is a photo shoot. I wouldn't say a photo shoot. Behind the scene where he took a picture where he became the clown. He was in a clown makeup because, as you know, Kazi is the clown in the comic book, right? So probably they shot that scene, but they just didn't want to enter it. Probably they just using it for the future because we didn't see a scene where he's like literally dead. Like there was no like he died, right? So there's always a possibility he could come back around.
And the guy has special skills also. Like he could catch an arrow. He could take punches and hits from Hawkeye when he had a one-on-one fight. So I'm sure that he has some.
And he's very close to Echo. So of course he should popcorn in the Echo series, right? So yeah.
I don't think one small needle knife can kill him lah.
So Kazi will just come back as Kamikaze lah.
Yeah, we have a lot of like fake deaths in this show, right?
Marvel is very famous for fake deaths.
Yeah.
I'm confused why Sean say fake deaths.
Fake.
Fake,
It
very
defeats
fake.
the first fake, so it's not fake.
So it's a wait, what? So it's real lah. It's
So
a
it's
fake
real.
death.
No, it's a fake, very fake one. Okay, and then we see one of the highlight fights of the series. I didn't expect this. I don't know if you guys did, but I did not expect this. Right, like for Kate Bishop to take on Kingpin. I always thought like, okay, Hawkeye will take on Kingpin, and then Kate will take care of Yelena. Somehow try to convince her. Maya and Kazi's one. So I didn't really see it coming, but okay, but. Yeah, for Kate Bishop to actually go up against Kingpin, and then we see her like shoot an arrow against his chest and he didn't die. The guy is just brutal, right? And the way he manhandled her.
The way he manhandled her, I think you have to give credit that somewhere deep inside Kingpin is a nice guy. He could have just snapped her back anytime he wanted to, but he just kept saying, like mind your own business.
Yeah,
I got to think simply because. It's still because I think he doesn't want to not to do anything with Eleanor. He still want to have a good time, because they are so committed to their work, right? It's a mob thing going on, right? And of course, it's Eleanor's daughter, and also because she's still a kid, right? So maybe, of course, it's an MCU thing, like we are Disney, right? Not like instead go kill a kid kind of thing, right? So they still have that particular boundary kind of thing, I guess.
And we also need to understand that Kingpin is initially a family man. For him, family comes first, and then that's when he took on to become the mob boss and everything, to take matters into his own hand. So he's still a father, lah.
Yeah,
Probably father.
Yeah, and no, for me, I felt like he didn't see Kate as a threat, right? Yeah. So hence, that's why he just shoving her aside, and and take it was more like swatting a fly away, Then we see Eleanor hit him with a car. He still didn't die, This guy is like I think a buffed up version of Captain America or something. Like he has a super soldier serum or something along the.
Honestly, I thought about that theory also, because the shot arrow and the stuff like that. Does he is MC going to do a super soldier serum? But then I just throw the thought away, because I know for a fact that Kingpin is like how Jess said, it's like abnormally super strong in a way. I just don't know how strong is it, but yeah. But since actually, so he just tend to tie in these kind of thoughts, right? Does he have it like a small version of serum kind of thing? So we
Hey,
don't know, right?
it's the MCU. They can spice up the story if they want to, and if people want to know like how is he strong, why is he strong, they probably cook up that story, na? Super Soldier Serum.
Okay, then of course, then they sort of like go into the store and fight, and then we see that Kate uses one of the tricks that Clint Barton taught her with the coin toss, where she takes his cuffling during a struggle, and then like sort of hits the tip of the arrows, and then sort of like all combined together and did something, an explosion, and then but he still didn't die. Okay, if that is the he still didn't die, right?
I think it was I think it was more like a sonic boom plus a bit of explosion kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think probably he would have been a bit more damage.
Well, I still wanted to know what is the too dangerous arrow. Was that the too dangerous arrow?
Yeah, we I still don't know which was it. Was it like the explosion at the ice rink or something like that? So
Yeah.
one of it too dangerous. So all the arrows were actually too dangerous anyway. So right. Then we see an encounter after that of Kingpin and Maya, while of course Eleanor is being arrested by Detective called something. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Okay, so this guy might have some sort of character advancement later on, right? Because we know that Kate Bishop and the detective sort of like work together, sort of like a Batman and Gordon sort of like a relationship going on over there, right? So then we see Kingpin and Maya have an encounter, and this is the part where we want to delve into some theories. Did Kingpin actually die? Because we didn't see him die, but we hear a gunshot, right? So because we know, of course, like what we mentioned earlier, that there's going to be an Echo series. So to have an Echo series, you need to have Kingpin, right? And in order to have Daredevil, you need to have Kingpin and Echo as well, right? So you cannot, these three sort of like has to have some sort of a character development, or their arcs need to sort of follow a certain path for it to stay true to what we believe in the comics as well, right? So guys, did Kingpin die? Yes, no, why?
I mean, honestly, it's too good of a character to kill off. That's the truth. And of course, like you don't like just show up at the finale and then you just like die off for nothing. Like of course, there's definitely a backstory. Yeah, I was talking to Jazz earlier. It's like those typical movies where you want to shoot the person, but then you just shoot on top, like, but then you just cut the scene. So,
And also, I guess because you see, Maya doesn't know that Kingpin is her father. I strongly believe that is how the story is going to go, because especially when he said my Maya and he's watching over her. Before she shoot him, he said we are family, right? He said family. So probably in the Echo series, they're going to start the episode with you say family. She probably shoot at the side, then she ask, "What do you mean?" Then he'll be like, "I'm your father, Maya." Then like, oh,
this is like some Star Wars all again.
I'm your father. Then she'll be like, no. She will give sign language. No.
Yeah. That was exactly what I wanted to say as well. I think that would be where the Echo series sort of like picks up, where she's just like, "Gonna kill me? I'm your father." And then you go like, what happened? Like, and then she goes like, probably she shoots it shoots up to the sky or something along the
in anger lah.
Yeah, or maybe he shoots him in the leg and says like, "You're my father." Yeah. So yeah, we cannot believe that Kingpin is dead. We cannot believe that, right? Because after how much that we asked for, more than just a cameo in the final, and then they give us a full episode worth of Kingpin, but then they kill him. No such thing, right? So definitely there will be more to it, and we can expect to see Vincent D'Onofrio again. When's Echo coming out again? Next year?
Next year, probably mid next year.
Yeah. Okay. So we hope to see him there with Echo. Okay. So then Clint then congratulates Kate on taking down Kingpin, and all that, and then we see Kate and Clint arrive at the Barton's farmhouse to celebrate Christmas together. And then Clint gives the watch to Laura. Behind it, we see the Shield logo, and then we see the number 19. Okay, so now this is where it gets very confusing. Okay, because Agent 19 we know is Barbara Moss, who is actually goes on to be Mockingbird, and then also is the love interest of Hawkeye in the comics. But we know that Barbara Moss actually has a character in Agents of Shield, right? There is a character named Barbara Moss there, right? So how is that related to Laura Barton, guys?
Yeah.
Put the
Agents of
thinking hats on.
Okay, so personally, I have watched the whole season of Agents of Shield because it was a tie-in. But that was Agents of Shield. If you remember, it was not taken over by Kevin Feige. Okay, it was not run by Kevin Feige. Yes, it was connected at first, but as the season went on, it was not really much of a connection. It was very all over the place kind of thing. So it was not very much based on the movies a lot kind of thing. So it's just very much all over. Yes, of course, there are references to the MCU but the tie-ins were just like very confusing and all stuff. And then now Kevin Feige has control with all the characters, all the TV series, so it's run by him. And they are stating that they don't want to do anything got to do with Agents of Shield also. So that's one of the theories they came up with, like what they also stated in also one of the forums and stuff like that. So they don't want to do anything about Agents of Shield. But if they are tying to Agents of Shield, what the theory can be suggested is that there is Bobby Moss in Agents of Shield, right? So because Hawkeye, Laura Barton, she wants to cover up her character so much, so I would safely say that they frame this character as the Bobby Moss character. That means they give this particular agent this character. You play along this character. You be this character's name. You play along with this character to safeguard. Because imagine if they want to safeguard a watch so much, obviously they want to safeguard her name also. So they just created this character Bobby Moss on another person, and she knew it. Probably she knows that she's not Bobby Moss, but she's playing the character Bobby Moss, and she just went along with it because she's an Agents of Shield also, back in the Agents of Shield series, right? So it's either just two theories that I could come up with.
For me, I would say is the one like I think at one point it was agreed that Agents of Shield can be considered non-canon. That it's nowhere tied into the MCU, and MCU series is up to a fresh start. Like Harbin said, initially it was supposed to be canon. Initially it's supposed to be tied in, but then at one point it just went on its own. So yeah, I think is that non-canon. No need to bother by Agents of Shield.
Eric?
I never even bothered with Agents of Shield, to be honest. But I knew the watch was something significant lah. And at one point I knew like it has something to do with Laura. At first I thought Laura was involved with the Avengers after she helped all of them stay in her house and in versus Ultron. So I thought after that she would have had an impact in some way with the Avengers lah. But turns out it's Agents of Shield, so but I have a feeling that she did something. I mean, Agents of Shield lah, so it must be something big lah that she did until they had to cover up her tracks. Not sure if it's good or bad, but let's just hope it's good lah. Yeah, I just hope for once they don't kill any characters. Just let this Hawkeye and his wife Laura to be happy with their kids, and just let it end that way, and then move on with Kate Bishop. Yeah. No need to continue to watch it. We all know about the watch. Thank you for the Easter egg. Let's just carry on, Yeah.
But I want to know what
No.
was so important
No.
about that watch.
No.
I think it's got to do something with the identity, just
Them be happy.
because as we know that Kingpin has a lot of tie-ins, right? And he, of course, is a very big of a character. He has connections everywhere. And I mean, with a watch, I think Kingpin can just find out whose the identity goes to, right? So I think.
And also, we need to consider the fact that why was the watch in Shield compound? It wasn't. Sorry, not Shield compound, in Avengers compound, because it could have been with her. But why was it in the Avengers compound? Why was it considered something very valuable that they have to take it? So identity-wise, I don't think, because I guess it plays something like. At first, I thought maybe it was Tony's watch, that can turn into the glove. but yeah, why was it there in the Avengers compound?
No, I think why it was in the Avengers compound is because when of course when the whole Barton family got dusted, I think maybe Clint would have kept it with him, and we know that Clint of course was in the Avengers compound together. Also, the Ronin suit also was there because it was taken from the Avengers compound. So maybe it was just with him as a reminder that he still loves his wife and so on, right? So, but then again, I also think maybe this is just an Easter egg. It's just something for them to play along because we don't see the watch. We see the watch only episode 1 and episode 6. Nothing in episode 5 also, but like nothing much in between that sort of like trails. Like they don't trail the whole thing, and then fight over it, and things like that. So I don't. Maybe it's just an Easter egg towards like hey, there was a Mockingbird in the MCU.
Yeah, but
right?
let's not forget that the tracksuit was also looking for the watch lah.
Huh.
So but I hope we just leave it that way lah. Let's not question about the watch.
We'll dig it, Eric. You see when the future series come.
Maybe it might come up, somewhere along, maybe Hawkeye season 2 or something like that, or maybe when we have Young Avengers or I don't know, right? Something along those lines. So we will see.
Think they'll drag the watch until
Yeah. Too many things to theorize about Laura Button. Okay, right. Then of course the episode ends with Kate and Clint and go out and then they burn the Ronin suit at the end of Ronin. Just want to have you to take. Do you think that this was a good closing for Hawkeye, for Clint Barton and Jeremy Renner, who has been in the in Marvel for so I think 10 but 13 years or because we know that Jeremy Renner was one of the first few people that actually signed up to the MCU, right? In terms of getting his contract and things like that. So, and he was one of the people that was in the planning, in the know, right, for what was happening the whole phases of the MCU. So, I just want to get your take on, okay, what do you think about this closing for Jeremy Renner and let's say Clint Barton, the character itself?
For me, I feel like they could have given more because as we see, Clint Barton never really had his own story arc feature film. It was always tied in with the Avengers or Captain America Civil War. So he didn't get much coverage on his life story compared to the other heroes. Like even Black Widow herself had her own story. So for Clint Barton, even this also, it felt like a 1 week fiasco, and then it just ended. So it didn't really delve much into his pain. Like for example, like Ronin, I think we could have got more of Ronin, the pain that he went through being a Ronin, the regrets that he went through being a Ronin. This one was more like, they got my suit and I need to track them down, that kind of thing. So in terms of closure for Clint Barton and Jeremy Renner, I feel like they could have gone way more. It doesn't have to be a movie, but they could have covered more of this in the series, which I think they didn't really do. Only significance was burning the Ronin suit. I think at one point we forgot about the Ronin suit because we are excited with Kingpin and everything. And then at the end, when he put the Ronin suit to burn, I was like, oh yeah, the Ronin suit. Yeah, I forgot about that. So that kind of thing. It didn't give much significance to that life that he had. So yeah, I think they could have done that.
Wow, that's a long. That was a long silence there. When he speaks about Clint, I'm happy that we finally get to see him more thoroughly. I think throughout the whole Avengers, we've seen him as a backup or supporting role, not really as a main role. We do see him play the main role at times when in Ultron and in Endgame, and then with Wanda during Civil War. We see bits of it, but now he finally got his own story, even a simple one. So it's a fair justice lah. And in terms of Jeremy Renner, he's a damn good actor. We've seen him act a lot of movies, and like Sean said, he's been a very early crucial actor into the Avengers, and I think he knew a lot of things background compared to the others. Like they were very transparent with him, being the OGs of the actors. So I wish to continue to see him. I have a feeling we'll still see cameos of him in the Avengers, because he's one of the few characters that are not dead. Compared to the main 6, it's only a balance of 3 if I'm not mistaken. Hawkeye, Thor, and Hulk. Yeah, the rest is either dead or retired. Yeah, so we still can see him lah. Who knows? Yeah, that's all.
I mean, just like both Eric and Jess said, like, yeah, we have our thoughts and of how this could have played out, this whole thing. But then honestly, I'm just very glad they actually they produced a Hawkeye series. You know, of course we didn't get a full background of the Ronin. Of course, the Ronin played a very significant role inside the comics. You know, there's a lot of backstory, and of course Hawkeye himself, there's a lot of backstory to it. Of course, 6 episodes is not enough to tell everything, but at least we got to see Hawkeye finally get to share his emotions in a way. And of course, to be honest, I think this was not more like a bookend to the Hawkeye himself, Clint Barton himself. I honestly felt that it was more like just passing the baton, but it was not like how we say, like, okay, I'm done, I'm retired kind of thing. Of course, I think if next we would see him, of course, it will be later on in the future. Of course, they're not going to bring him back straightforward. I think maybe about 3-4 years down the road, maybe an Avengers movie or a young Avengers movie, a crossover cameo, whatsoever. But I'm very happy that Hawkeye was one of my favorite series. I would say more very grounded, and of course we have said this before. Loki is on top, just right below is just Hawkeye. After it comes everything, Falcon, Wanda, and What If, and whatsoever. So yeah, I mean Hawkeye. I mean, imagine Falcon is such a good investment of a characters and such. And of course Hawkeye is an Avenger, but he was always silent. But still, he's still on par with above all the other series, right? And of course it's Christmas season, and of course we didn't get to see a lot of Christmas vibes in the MCU a lot. But this was one of the few that they made to the cut, so I'm just very happy that I get to watch Hawkeye, and it was a wonderful series, I would say.
There was a lot of course in the line. I'm impressed.
Of course. And of course, we had a post-credit scene. We shall not go on to talk about it. It was one of the longest couple of minutes of my life. I think I know how Clint Barton felt. That's the reason why he took off his. Okay, no, it was a good musical, but I wasn't interested in the musical. Right, that was it. Okay,
it was very cringy.
Yeah. All right. So other than that, yep. So that was the end of Hawkeye. It was a good run. So we hope that we of course will miss Clint Barton, the original Hawkeye, but we move forward with Kate Bishop as the new Hawkeye, or what she will call herself, Lady Hawk or Hawkshot. You know, as she poked fun at having a new name for herself. So we will see definitely more of her. And of course, that's sort of like wraps the year for 2021. And as we move into 2022, we will have She-Hulk that will kick off the year in a Disney Plus series. You know, and then we also have the announcement of having Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness on May 5th, which will be releasing here in Malaysia and of course globally on May 6th. Right, so lot to look forward to next year. So so that's it from us, and we had a good year, and we will see you guys next year. Actually not next year, we will see you guys very soon. Okay. All right, so that is it from us. We are the Geek Street, and the street has spoken. Merry
Cheerio.
Christmas.
Thank you, guys.
Merry Christmas, everybody.